Hi everyone, it is April from Getting Hookah With It. Today I'm here to do my Reading Rush TBR, so let's get right into it. Before we begin, we need to talk about my hair. This is Curly McCurlson over here. I used a curling iron and this will drop out, but I really wanted to film this. But I look slightly like a poodle at the moment, but that's fine. You guys don't mind. So I am totally going to participate in the Reading Rush. This year it is taking place from July 20th to the 26th. And I'm here to do my TBR pile. I'm very, very excited. Will I be able to accomplish all of this reading in 1 week? Most likely not, because I have a baby, I have a job. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm gonna try as best I can. So let's dive into the prompts. I love this first prompt so much. Read a book with a cover that matches the color of your birthstone. So I am a May baby, May 4th, and that means emerald is the birthstone of May. And so I scoured my shelves, and there were quite a few actually that jumped out at me, which I didn't expect. I didn't think emerald was really a color that would be popular on books, but it is. But the one that stood out to me and that I've been dying to read for so long now is Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. This is meant to be amazing. I have only heard really good things about this book. So this follows a woman in the 1950s in Mexico. She receives a letter or something from her cousin saying, "Please come and get me. You have to save me." And so she decides to drive out to this big, huge, isolated mansion, and her cousin's husband, who she had just recently married, is not very thrilled that she's there. And she does befriend the son. I guess it's like a stepson or something that she befriends. Apparently it's very gothic. It's got a little bit of horror, and I'm so here for this. I'm so excited to read this. So Mexican Gothic, look at that beautiful emerald green. Yes. This could also work if you were like a January baby because of the red, right? For January? Anyway, just putting it out there. Question 2. Read a book that starts with the word the. Very easy prompt, I would say, and I have decided to read The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse by Charlie Malorie. This is meant to be, it's very short and it's kind of a picture book. It's gorgeous. One of my subscribers, the lovely Judy, sent this to me, and she sent it like many moons ago. I think she bought it for me at the beginning of May, and it just showed up. It just showed up recently, and I'm so excited to read this. It's supposed to be really beautiful and something that will bring you to tears, and I just thought in a readathon, well, I love to be moved all the time, but in a readathon I like to read some short books. I like to try to throw in some short books if I can. So yeah, that's The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. Question number 3. Read a book that inspired a movie that you've already seen. Now this, I was slightly upset by this prompt. Not really, but you know what I mean. Because I really try not to read, to watch movies before I've read the book. Like, there are so many movies that Barry's like been trying to get me to watch, and I'm like, no, gotta read the book first. Poor guy. And you know how many movies are based on books. But there were several movies that I'd watched in the past that I had not read. Like, I could have chosen many Stephen King books. I have Misery, I have The Shining. I could have chosen those. But one of the books that has been on my TBR for the beginning of the year of books that other you know, booktubers have loved. I'll link that video in the description box below. One of those books is Anne of Green Gables. I am Canadian. It is July. I should probably read Anne of Green Gables. Celebrate Canada Day. I have watched this little mini series of Anne. The 80s one, not the Anne with an E, which I've heard mixed things about. That one's on Netflix, but I watched the 80s one. I can't even tell you how many times as a child, but I've never read the book, and I know that that is so wrong. I have two versions of this. I've got this one. I've got another one that my parents brought back to me from PEI, so I'll probably read that one just because it's like the first edition. So there's something, I don't know, special about that. But yes, I think I'm gonna pick up Anne, guys. I think I'm gonna do it. It's time. It's been time for many years now. Question 4. Read the first book that you touch. Okay, so I've got a big stack of books here. I've got a big stack of books, and these are all books that publishers have sent to me that I want to read, and they're all slightly spooky. There's something about the summer. I think I've talked to you about this before. There's something about the summer that like requires creepy reading for me. The scarier, the better. So we've got The Girl from Widow Hills. I'm gonna like stack this and then choose. So we've got The Girl from Widow Hills by Megan Miranda. This came out at the end of June. And I've talked about it so many times, but this book is about a girl who goes sleepwalking in the middle of the night in a torrential rainstorm, and she's found clinging to a drain. And she's from a small town, so she becomes slightly famous as like the girl who lived and the survivor, and so she's done with that in her adult life. She like moves, I don't know if she changes her name, but she starts a new identity. But all of a sudden she starts sleepwalking again, and all of a sudden she feels like she's being watched constantly. So I could read this. We'll see what I end up choosing. I also have the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. This is my Patreon book club pick for the summer. And this is about a woman in the 90s who belongs to a book club that's a true crime book club. And one day she's leaving book club. It's at night. One night she's leaving a book club, and she's attacked by a neighbor. And then a neighbor's nephew comes to the rescue, and they start to have a relationship in some way, but he might be a vampire. It sounds hilarious, but apparently it's brutal and terrifying. So I could read this. I need to read that. So we'll see if that one's the one that's chosen. Then there's American Predator, The Hunt for the Most Meticulous Serial Killer of the 21st Century. This is true crime, and it is about a serial killer who created these kill kits and would travel across America, bury these kill kits, and then go back, I don't know if it was weeks or months later, find someone and kill them. And it was really hard to find this serial killer, I believe, because he was all over the place. So there is that. And then there's A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. I've heard really good things about this. This is a YA mystery thrillery kind of book. This is about a girl who lives in a small town where a murder happened. A very popular high school senior named Andy was murdered by her boyfriend Sal, who then killed himself. Now, our main character, and I think her name is Pip, doesn't believe that he actually did it. She knew him, I guess, as a child, and she just can't see that connection happening, and she can't see him as a murderer. So she decides to essentially reopen the case herself and try to get to the bottom of it. So there's that. There's also Malorie, which is the sequel to Bird Box, which I have been waiting for, well, I've been hoping that he would do a sequel to Bird Box for many years. If you don't know, Bird Box is about a world in which there's something or a series of some things outside. And if you see that something, you lose your mind, you can kill other people, and then you kill yourself. So we have been following Malorie, who has been living her life blindfolded or boarded up inside. Now she's got 2 kids and she decides to leave, and she goes down a river blindfolded with these 2 kids, also blindfolded, trying to find a safe haven. And this is the continuation of the story. So, which one will I pick? Let's see. Okay, so I've got a stack of spooky books the publisher sent my way. And I need to essentially just close my eyes and pick the first thing that my finger touches. I'm slightly nervous. A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. Yes. So I ended up picking A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, which I'm excited about because I'm actually listening to Truly Devious right now, which is another YA mystery, and I'm really liking it. So if this is anything like that, I'm going to enjoy it, I think. It's apparently very well written. Chapter and Converse, Audrey over at Chapter and Converse has been loving this series, and I think the second book is already out in the UK. In any case, I am very excited, and because it's YA, I know it'll be easy to flip through, so good for a readathon. Okay, prompt 5 is read a book that's completely outside of your house. So I've decided to probably just sit out on my front porch and read The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse, just because it's short and sweet, and I know that I can do that in one sitting in one place. So that's the plan. Prompt number 6 is read a book in a genre that you've always wanted to read more of. It's summer. It's horror time. I love anything Gothic, and so I'm also using Mexican Gothic for this prompt. Sometimes you've got to be realistic, so hopefully this is a quick read. It's less than 300 pages. So, and then the last question is read a book that takes place on a different continent than where you live. So I live in Canada, and Confessions takes place in Japan, I think. Is it Japan or is it Korea? Japan. And this is another short and sweet book. It's around 200 pages, and this is about a teacher who is having her last class with her students because her daughter died tragically on the school grounds, and she thinks that one of the students, I should say, in her class had something to do with it. And so I think she's like interrogating them or something. Even the cover just looks slightly terrifying. So I'm very eager to read that. It's set in Japan. Perfect. I've got my stack, guys. I think it's a good stack. I think it's nicely rounded out. We've got a lot of scary, which is great. We've got some like children's lit, lots of scary. I am excited for the reading rush. Let me know in the comments below what you're planning to read for the reading rush. If you are going to participate, I do hope that you do. Again, in the description box below, you can go and check out my Goodreads page, my Instagram, my Amazon wish list, my Patreon. It's all linked below. I hope that you guys are doing really, really well, and I will talk with you soon. Goodbye from Curly Me. Bye.